Hello, good morning. Right, this time we are going to try this machine that I've not used before, like I said in my previous maintenance video, just to see how it sews with the whole project. This is what we're going to do. I've made this before. It's the classic Tote. I have got a video up of this one. This one is going to be in denim and fabric. The other one was in denim and PVC. I forgot the word. And this time I'm going to stick to the actual pattern, whereas before I changed the pattern to make the bottom bigger. So this will go up after Christmas because this is a Christmas present for my daughter. I'm still using leftover fabrics. I've got some old pink denim and some oriental crane cotton fabric and some plain lining, blue and cream. So let's see how we go. So the first thing we need to do is take the front pocket outer and the front pocket outer trim, and then we need to put them right size together. Yeah, good bit of advice is that when you cut your patterns out, leave your pattern with, so you never get them mixed up, because some sizes are similar, and then you'll be able to find them. So there you go, that's the pink denim I've got. Take the pins out, and you could make this a different colour if you wish, because it's two separate pieces, and then just fold them together. So across the top, and then press it open, press the seam flat, and then top stitch. I've got my stitch length on between the numbers 2 and 3, so I assume that's 2.5. And just back stitch. Put your needle as high as it'll go, and then you should be able to pull out. So there's, I'll just check the seam allowance. That's probably just over 1/4 inch, so if I just go a little bit less on the next bit. So that's the pocket front. Front pocket. Now I should press the seam flat open, because that's what it says to do in the instructions for the pocket. I assume because it's in denim they know it's thick. Press the seam open and flat, then top stitch close to the seam on the right side using decorative thread. Now this is pink and I've got blue in, so my colour is of thread is going to be different on the top stitching. But you can use the same, you can use a different pattern, you can do an embroidery stitch. So once I press that flat, then we'll top stitch in across the top this way. So there you go, it's been pressed flat, and then put your threads, turn it over, and we'll top stitch on the top. The distance where you top stitch is entirely up to you. It is a decorative stitch. There you go, that's the first bit. As you can see, I've changed my machine because I think there is something wrong after now using it for on proper fabric on a pattern. I think there is something wrong with the bobbin, so I need to address that issue. Other than that, it's a shame because it's a quiet engine motor, and so put the pocket front and the pocket lining together, right size together, and we're going to sew on 3 sides. That's 2 sides and the top. 1/4 inch seam. the stitches. Whoops. And then give it a press. Once you've pressed it, then top stitch across the top edge. You can use a decorative stitch, or you can just do it in a straight line. You can use it in whatever colour cotton that you're using. You can do an 1/8 of an inch, and I'm going to do a 1/4. There you go. So that's top stitched across the top. It's going to be sewn on with the sides, so I'll have top stitches on the side when we find the on the right side of the outer front. Outer, it's just an outer, and there's 2 of these, so just get one of those, plus your pocket, and I've got this upside down, so that's, oh no I haven't, and then what you do is find the centre of your outer by turning it in half and pressing so you create a line from the top to the bottom. Find the centre of your pocket by folding it in half and pressing it to find a line from top to bottom. Place the pocket on top centrally, making sure it's equal from side to side, and with a tape measure, and then making sure that you've put the raw edges together at the bottom, and then you top stitch both sides. Again, we should be doing a 1/4 of an inch. If you want to do an 1/8 of an inch, it's entirely up to you. It's very thick because you've got seams under here, and this is denim, so if you've got an industrial machine, then you could probably do 1/8 of an inch, no problem. And that's your pocket front finished. There you go. And your pocket front has got a very pretty lining on the inside, and that's one done. It's at this point where you do your button. Now it's entirely up to you how you do it. I've used, obviously, it's what they call an anorak stud or press stud or whatever, but you don't have to have one if you haven't got one. Because you've put the front pocket on this piece, which is called the outer, that now becomes your outer front. So basically we are creating the front of the bag. So you need one of these, because there was 2, one of these, and you place it in that. Now becomes your front base. So just place them together, and again you can either clip or pin, entirely up to you. Do your start want to check, and I went in over this section here. I just want to make sure it's sewed a 1/4 inch. Right, then press it open. Let's just see if it says 2. Press that. Press the seam to open on top stitch. So press them open. I suppose if you're using 2 thick pieces of material, then that would be, but I've got cotton. So what I might do is leave it where it wants to go, because once the denim will be fighting against the cotton, and then I'll just press it. So then we come to the handles, and I'm not making them the same as what the book pattern says. What I've done is done 6 inches across, ironed a crease in the middle, and then ironed the ends over to meet the middle, and then folded, and then you do a seam either side, starting with the open end. All I had left in fabric was the width, and this is the full width of the fabric that I had, which was about 38 inches. You can do short handles, or you can do long handles to fit over your shoulder, but this is all I have, so this size handle will have to do. I am leaving up leftovers, and I haven't got a lot left of this. So you pick a point on your foot, and you keep it to that point all the way down one side. And you might have to take your time on the first one, and you might probably go a bit quicker on the second. So the pattern says to put one of your handles equal with the top, the shorter ones, which are this edge obviously, with the top of the outer front. So if you start off, you have to remember this for the other side, for the back of the bag, for when you do it. If you start off with a flat piece of fabric, and whichever way you pick it up, to manoeuvre it into your sides is the same way as you've got to do the other side, and you know it's not going to loop, to twist. So I'm going to use some clips for this. Because it's rather thick for me to get, and you must measure 5 and 3. The pattern says 5 3/8 in, so we'll do that. Just double check. 5 3/8 inches in from the outer edge, so that's 5 and see if I've got a little pencil somewhere. If I keep this within the seam allowance, it's not going to show. So 5 3/8, which is there, and 5 and 1, 2 and 3, which is there. So basically, if I put one's this on this side, but it didn't, it said to measure in, so that's 5 3/8. So I can put, and then I must do exactly the same on this side, 5 3/8 in, so it's got to go that side. Just put a couple in. That didn't catch at all. Again, always check that you haven't twisted your strap before you sew. And then it says to sew in your seam allowance. In other words, just baste it in. So if you can do under 1/4 inch, if that's what your seam allowance using. So I've done it on this side, 5 3/8. Let's just have a look at the picture because it's above the handle. And as you can see, there's the handles and it's above the pocket, sorry, not above the handle. So it's above the pocket, so I'm in the right place. So we've got to baste those in. So just baste them in nice and slow. There's a lot of thicknesses here, so again I've still got it on 3. And I want to make sure they're nice and secure, so I shall reverse. So I've done a forward and I've done a reverse. And I should do the same to the other side. Making sure that it starts with this side on the line. And I'm probably doing just over 1/8 of an inch, as long as I'm not doing a 1/4, because then that will get hidden. So there you go, and that's where we're up to now. So this is the outer trim, and it was put on the fold, so when you open it out it's as long as the bag, and then you put this on top, right side together, where you've just put your handles, because this is the front. So just start from one end and clip or pin. It's getting a bit thick in places, so it might be best to clip, and then you do 1/4 inch seam, and that way then you're making sure that your handles are straight, you're securing your handles with your trim. 1/4 inch seam, and I need to find some cotton, so I've run out of navy. Then we're going to, this time we are going to do it, and that's, we're going to press the seam open, and then we're going to top stitch, and then it won't be so many layers to go through. There you go, that's your handles are completely reinforced twice, 1/8 of an inch and 1/4 of an inch. So we're now going to top stitch where we've just put the handles, and I've just put them, made sure that they're going up straight, and just secured them to keep them straight, because we've got to go over the handles as well. The only way I work that one out is by looking at the pictures, and the handles are going up, and it's been top stitched underneath down here. I assume they want you to pull this down or in half, but because of the way the handles have gone in, I'm not sure if I'm going to get them down. Let's have another look. I might have to, yep, I think I'm going to be alright, but it's going to be really thick, so I'm going to put my stitch length on 4. So, and I'm going to have to make sure I push it down to go underneath, top stitch it underneath. So I'm going to get as close as I can to, pick a point again on there to make sure that you catch the seam and keep it down. Nice and slow, because it's really thick. That handle seam has been top stitched down, so that again, you've got quite a few. You've got 3 stitches into them handles to make sure that they're really nice and secure. Now, to finish the front section off, you need to either sew or iron on your foam interfacing across the back of your whole of your front. Now, if you want to as well, you can put some rivets. I might do that actually. It might be a bit thick, I'm not sure. I'll have a look. Once you put holes in there, you're committed, or you might not. I'm not sure yet what to do. I might just put some rivets down here because it's a bit thinner, it's a bit thicker on the handle, so I might just put some just here. Other than that, if deciding whether to put rivets or not, you've actually finished the front section, and then the next section is making the back section. So there you go, that's I have put some silver rivets in. I'm not happy with them, but I've made the hole in the fabric, so I've got no choice but to continue. They look silver, they're different, they're in. This is your outer back, and this is your one of your linings. They're both the same, so it doesn't matter which one you use. Put that one together and iron to find the middle and crease it in the middle with the iron. Fold this lengthways and crease, and then obviously put it on top to get your centre. Measure 2 3/4 inches down, find the centre and then pin. An inch down from the top of the lining, draw a line. 3/8 of an inch below that, draw a line. The box should measure widthwise 7 inches. Draw a line in the middle, which is your cutting line. The other lines on the outside and the ends are your sewing lines. Make a V from each corner either side, and then when you cut, you will cut to that V on the middle and then into the corner, not cutting the stitches. So on the outside line all the way around, I'm going to reduce my stitch to 2. And sew on the line. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There should be 6 on the other side as well. Do your light, if you've got, I've got fabric that you can't tell which is right side or wrong side, but if you've got a pattern fabric, then you do 2 right sides together. And it should be 6. Yeah. And then join back up and then just do 1 back and cut. This is where, if you're feeling brave, you cut in the middle using a rotary blade. Obviously when you get to the ends, then I'd stop there. You can see what I'm doing. Yes, you can. Good. Stop there, and then some sharp scissors go into the corners. I've got blue on there, so. And then do not cut through your stitches. Very hard to see blue on blue. Try your best. and then post your fabric through. One gone through, and then post that through, turn over. You'll probably be better off pulling it from this side. It doesn't give you much room, does it? Now it might take a bit of pressing. If you haven't cut it enough, it won't flatten out, but it might take some pressing to get that effect. So take it over to you, Ryan, and press. Right, I've pressed it again and got it a little bit better. Got some less blue showing, and this time I've put some tape on. It's the one I've used, just a 1/4 inch fabric tape, and I pulled the top off. Now I'm just going to fit it underneath. Making sure that I'm going underneath the blue fabric, putting that on top as well, and getting the zip centrally in the middle as best I can before I actually press it down. Press the top down when you've got it right, and then that'll help secure it. You can also put a pin in this if you're going to start on the other side, making sure that your blue fabric is out the way. Turn it round, everything's out the way where it should be. Zipper put on, making sure your fabric is definitely out the way all the way over. I wouldn't, if you're going to join this back up, I wouldn't bother going over it, reversing. Keeping an eye on where you're stitching and making sure it's the same distance. When you turn this corner, please be aware that there is a stopper somewhere. There. I've got a little bit blue showing there and a little bit of blue showing there, but on the whole I'm quite happy with that. Let's just read the next bit. So what you do then from the back, which is zips in, is bring up the other short end from the bottom over to the top and then pin, because you're going to sew the lining all the way around. You're not going to sew the outer fabric, just the lining. So just pin your lining together in a couple of places just to make sure that it does as it's told. Take this foot off and put the other foot back on when I can find it. There it is. And 1/4 inch seam allowance. Took everything away, so you've now pinned the top of your fabric together there. Took that under, so that just leaves exposed your two pieces of lining fabric together, and it's 1/4 inch seam allowance. Making sure that they're both together. Three-eighths or 1/4 inch. Took this one right away out the way underneath, and bring your blue fabric together side by side. Once you've turned the corner, there you go. So once you open your zip, and your zip pocket is completely enclosed. There you go. On the tabs, these are the tabs. On the pattern it says to glue wrong sides together and then top stitch all the way around. Well, I don't like that idea, so I'm going to do about 1/8 inch and turn it inside out. I suppose it all depends what fabric you use. I'm just going to go to as close to the edge as possible, about 1/8 inch all the way around. So it'll probably be a little bit slimmer than one it should be. If I was to make one of these again, I'd make it a little bit wider and then sew it, but I'm not going to put that again. Obviously when you go around the corners, take your time, want it as neat as possible.